Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. So, Brooke is sitting there sweating bullets. She's like, Douglas could be over there telling everyone that I kissed Santa or that I kissed someone. And, Hope is like, yo, you need to sit there and try to relax. Like, you know, he's going to say something and they're probably going to sit there and look at him and be confused and perplexed. They're going to probably sit there and think that he's just being a kid. And, even Liam was like, there was one point where Hope was like, they're probably not going to sit there and really ask a lot of questions or anything like that. And Lynn was like, oh, I was kind of curious. And Hope just kind of stood there and looked at him like, they're not helping. But I'm not going to lie. Brooke, you did this all to yourself. So you snipped this sweating bullets, snipped this talking about, oh, my marriage is about to be over. My marriage is going to be so over. It's like, no, sweetheart, you did this to yourself. Yeah, listen, there was alcohol involved. Um, but you're not telling Ridge and lying about it as long as you did instead of saying it when it happened instead and just taking whatever happens. No, you made this a lot worse. So I'm sorry, why am I supposed to sit there and feel sorry for you? Now Douglas is over there telling everyone that he saw grandma kissing Santa, but everyone kind of plays it off a little bit. Thomas is like, oh, I don't know if that's how the song goes. Stephanie just a little perplexed, and Ridge keeps trying to make jokes a little bit. Oh, Santa must have been one lucky guy, or whatever. I want to sit there and hear more about this story. So they're just asking questions and stuff. And Brooke is like, you need to sit there and call Thomas to sit there and bring back Douglas. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? You want You want Thomas, who hasn't even probably been with Douglas that long, to just bring him back. And that's totally not going to look suspicious. With him standing there telling everyone that he saw Santa kissing Grandma. And not 5 minutes after, you want to sit there and bring him back home, and that's supposed to make sense to everyone else in the room. And that's literally what she did. Hope called Thomas, was like, oh, well, you need to sit there and bring back Douglas. It's kind of a family thing going on. Not really sitting there giving any real answers, just sitting there saying there's a scheduling conflict and there's this, that, and the third, and you need to sit there and bring him back. And, Thomas was a lot more gracious than other people would have been in that situation, especially if they're spending time with their son, and then you have her just call you up and sit there and say you need to bring him back from you need to bring him back. We got some sort of thing going on, but won't say what it is. And you honestly think that he's gonna be like, no, that's cool. Yeah, that's fine. It's whatever. That's literally what he does. So he brings back Douglas, and everyone's sitting there talking to Douglas, trying to find out. And this is the part where it gets to where it's like, this just feels. Hey, let me ask everyone a question. Did this just feel a little uncomfortable? Everyone's meant they're trying to pry out information to find out what he told, um, the rest of the family. Because it felt a little uncomfortable. And then it got to a point where Brooke was like, oh, do you mind leaving the room so I could sit there and talk to Douglas, alone? And I'm like, I know I'm just a viewer, but I kind of have a problem with that. That don't feel right. I really don't feel right. But and honestly, tell you the truth, it almost felt like they were gonna sit there and be like, what? Like they paused for a minute, but they was like, all right, yeah, okay, fine, and they left. And this is the part where it just gets uncomfortable because I'm like, all right, so you literally are gonna try to find a way to manipulate him to not tell him the truth. This is where we're at in your life, right? We're at this stage of your life where you are trying to manipulate your grandson to make sure that he doesn't out you for what you did on New Year's Eve. And you don't see a problem with that. This is one of those things where it's like, I'm going to put my morals to the side. This way I can keep my marriage, even if I have to manipulate my grandson in order to do it. That whole sentence just felt wrong to me. It really did. And that's what she does. After she finds out, what he was Nita saying, she pretty much is like, all right, well, what, that happened Christmas, New Year's Eve, it's in the past, and we're going to sit there and just celebrate the future. So, let's just look forward to the future and not really sit there and talk about the past anymore, okay? All right, buddy? More or less. And then she hugs him. I'm like, I'm not going to lie, this just feels so wrong. It's like, especially the look on her face, I was like, this feels kind of, I don't want to sit there and say kind of creepy, but this just feels wrong. Like, hella wrong. Now, Paris is not there talking to Grace, and Grace was like, oh, I saw Zende, going out on a date with somebody else. And, Paris was like, yeah, I know. And she was like, you know. Like, she was still sitting there trying to put most of this on Zende. But then, Paris was like, listen, it is what it is. This is our relationship. Is no strings attached or whatever. It's very loose and casual and fun and just the way I like it. And Grace is kind of sitting there just looking at her like, I'm sorry, what? Now, the reason why that is because Grace, it's not so much that Grace comes from a different time period, but she was just brought up different. I imagine, she's not used to just guys and girls being in relationships, but then seeing other people. She's more traditional. So when she looks at it and she's sitting there talking, she's just like, "What is going on? This guy is literally perfect for you. He's accomplished. He has a great family apparently, because that's important." But she's like, what's going on? Like, you've been sitting there raving about this guy, and even Paris is like, "Yeah, he treats me like a queen." So she's like, "So what's wrong? What's the problem? I don't understand." And Paris simply says, I'm not ready for a relationship. I'm not ready to be serious. And she talks about the whole proposal and how she turned him down because she just wants to be free and experience new things and life and joy and all this other stuff. Which, I mean, I know I'm sitting there coming kind of hard on her. I admit that, but to be fair, she comes across as a very flaky character. And it wouldn't be so much of a problem with her stance if this is how she was, if this was the type of energy she was giving him in the beginning. When, I see situations where she's at Thomas's place or she's with Thomas and Thomas is like, I want to sit there and try to hit on you and be with you and this, that, and the third. And Paris is like, well, I have a boyfriend. You're pretty much giving Zende that same energy. You're giving him that same feeling. So of course he's walking around the room telling everyone that can sit there and listen that Paris is this and Paris is that and Paris is great and she changed my life and blah 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 blah. And then you're sitting there telling them, oh, by the way, we're two single people. It's like, the hell is wrong with you? Like, she just comes across very flaky. Now there's one point where they're talking about Sequoia and going on a date and stuff like that. Um, but she doesn't get to the fact that she's also seeing someone. Because we all know the minute that she or Grace finds out who Paris is seeing, Grace is going to be sitting there coming with the fire and all the smoke at Carter after the whole Zoe thing, which I'm not gonna lie. The minute that does happen, I'm gonna be sitting there rolling my eyes, looking at this chick sideways, like, sweetheart, you weren't there. Sit there and watch your daughter act like trash. I was there briefly, um, and I can only imagine how much worse she was. You know, it, I came in late to the game. I came in late to the game. So that type of energy was something like the way she was there talking to her sister, talking about you, you need You need to leave. You need to quit. You're bothering me. You're bothering my life. You're upsetting this, that, and the third. Just this selfish ass behavior. Like, this was normal for her. Like, this was normal behavior for her. I can only imagine what she was like before I started watching this. Um, just trash. And so watching, eventually we're gonna sit there and see Grace come at Carter about the whole Paris thing. And I know just imagine watching it, I'm already just like, I wouldn't sit there saying my blood pressure's up, but I'm just like, yo, I can already tell that this chick is gonna annoy me. Now the last scene is, and I didn't sit there before I get to the last scene. So back at Steffi's place, Steffi and Ridge are just like, what is going on? Even when, Thomas was like telling everyone that, he's gonna be sent there dropping off Douglas, Steffi was like, he just got here. What's going on? So after Douglas came back, which I'm just like, damn, what did he teleport there? I get it. You gotta sit there and find a way to save time, but it's like, 1 minute he left, and next minute he was just like right back. I'm like, what are they, like joint houses? I know that they're not joint houses because I seen how the layout of the house is for Steffi's place. But the way that he came back, it almost made it seem like he just went across the street to just you know go to CVS or something. So anyway, he comes back, and both Steffi and Reg are just like, what's going on? Like, what's going on with him? Like, why did you have to sit there and drop him back off? Steffi's like, you shouldn't be letting Hope do that. Like, that's just messed up. Like, you just got him, and already you gotta sit there and send him back. And she gave you some sort of vague explanation as to why she need to sit there and see, Douglas back. And so she was already just like the looks. Let's just put it this way: the expressions on Steffi's faces, on Steffi's face, a lot of times is just priceless. It's like she could just walk into the room, just give you a certain glare, and you already know what it is. You already know what it is. You don't even have to sit there and think about it. It's like, nope, I know exactly the type of emotions that she is giving. So I gotta sit there and say, I mean, granted, when I first started watching this show, I was not super impressed with Steffi's acting. Um, I came back; it's gotten a lot better. But I gotta sit there and tell you, the looks that she gives, it's just like, damn. Okay, let's put it this way. I haven't seen somebody just give like this the death stare the way that Steffi does in any show that I could sit there and remember as far as soap operas go. If anyone could sit there and find if anyone could sit there and find a character that how do I sit there and say it or explain it? Like a character that could just sit there and just give you a look with expressions and where it's just like exactly what she's thinking or what he's thinking, let me know in the comment section. Now the last scene is with Katie and Carter. Which on one hand, it was good to sit there and see my girl Katie. But on the other hand, I'm not gonna lie, in some ways, I almost kind of felt this scene to be kind of pointless. The only thing that really happened was that Carter was really vague in the beginning. They talked about Dollar Bill for a little bit, as far as, Dollar Bill, that they're trying to get back with Katie and, you know, how's the process going, apparently. And, because they haven't seen each other in a while. Well, pretty much Katie hasn't sit there and saw Carter in a while. So when she's sitting there trying to ask what's going on, what's been going on with you, Carter is kind of guarded. But she pries a little bit out of him. And she gets him to admit that, he's seeing someone or thinking about seeing someone. Um, it's not married, but not completely single. It's like kind of complicated or whatever. And pretty much he's just like, he tells her that, he's trying to avoid the mistakes that he made before with Quinn and everything like that, and how that whole thing went down. He's trying to just tread lightly. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when there was a point where I thought that Carter and Katie were gonna be a thing. Or at the very least, it was going to be a love triangle between Katie, Carter, and Dollar Bill. Now, it seemed like they moved on from that, and they're trying this whole Paris and Carter thing, and uh, I don't know. I don't know. I would, sad thing. I would sit there and say I would choose Katie over Paris, but not that long ago, I was practically one of those people that was there singing Paris praises. Oh, Paris, she can sing and she's good looking. And now I'm just like, yeah, she's those things, but she's like kind of trash also. So there's that. So at this point, I want to sit there and say, you know what, maybe I can sit there and see her with, sing with Katie. I like Katie so far, but to be honest, I also said the same thing about Chloe Lane on Days, so still dealing with that. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm not gonna lie, this show, I feel like the jury's still out on this show. I don't think this is a bad show. I just feel like with this episode, it teased you a little bit. Brooke is kind of worried. Now, Douglas is Smith, they practically told everyone under the sun that he saw Grandma kissing Santa. So at the very least, that stuff is going to be lingering in their head. Um, there was one point where, Brooke wasn't there asking Douglas about the time frame, like, oh, did you sit there and tell him it was New Year's Eve? And Douglas was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. So it's like Douglas gave them a little bit, but not too much. So you can see, like in this episode, things, the suspense was definitely there, but it was like 19 minutes, so it really didn't. It's like I don't want to use that dirty analogy, but my point is, it's like they gave you enough to sit there and kind of keep you interested, but you felt like they could have gave you more. And that's how I feel about this show sometimes. It's like it can get kind of intense and kind of interesting at times, but it's like, all right, we're almost there. We're almost there. And we're done. And then we'll get to another story. It's like, we're almost there. We're almost there. Or sometimes it's like, all right, I feel like this could have been a kind of like a two-parter kind of episode. Like you could have gave me more. Maybe if you would have gave me an hour. And then for me personally, I still haven't found. Well, there's only one character so far that I could sit there and say that I like. Um, and the thing is, it's not like I dislike a lot of the characters, but like with Zende, sometimes he can come across as very. He can come across as kind of pretentious at times. Um, Carter can come across as kind of a snake at times. Eric definitely, I would definitely sit there and say he disappointed me. Ridge, let's put it this way. I haven't found, there's only one character I found so far that I can sit there and say I like, and that's Deacon. And I think that's mostly because he reminds me of Johnny from Cobra Kai in a lot of ways. And in that sense, I kind of hope that he does stick around. I really do. I haven't really found a character I was like, man, I like this guy. Like on Days, there's EJ, and then there's Steve. Kind of looking for my EJ or Steve, and I have not found them yet. I found one person. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe, and yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section.